Filed on Thursday, the opposition coalition argues that the Commission's move was an affront to principles of electoral system. It claims IEBC acted unlawfully by not allowing parties to make representations on appointments as required by law. NASA claims the process was secretive and driven by ulterior political considerations. The opposition wants the reshuffle suspended pending determination of the case on grounds that it undermines democratic, free and fair election process. And we'll be talking more about this. With me in studio this morning to dissect that particular matter and, of course, what it is the IEBC has said on their website. They definitely have talked about this matter in one of the press releases that we found on their website. Is next to me Constantine Mwadime, who's an aspirant for the gubernatorial seat and race in Taita Taveta County. Also with us this morning is Jack Tumwa. Now, Jack Tumwa, if you could just show our guest on screen right now as we introduce them, is a former ACK commissioner, of course now defunct ACK, that's Electoral Commission of Kenya. And also Duncan Okachu is an advocate on my extreme right. We'll be talking more about that matter that NASA has moved to court on. What are the implications of the same and other issues arising in as far as the August 8th general election is concerned? So do stay with us for that. And gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. And away from the Kalonzo, from that particular case that we're talking about, the NASA filing and the suing of the IEBC, Kalonzo is meeting. We're also covering the meeting by the Education Cabinet Secretary, Fred Matiang'i. This morning, he's meeting administrators of educational and training institutions over the smooth running of teaching, learning, and training programs and activities during the campaign period ahead of the August 8th general elections. Our Timothy Otieno will be joining us for an update on that. All right, so we'll link up with Timothy in just a short while. Matiang'i meeting happening at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. But let's talk first with my guest this morning about that matter that NASA has moved to court. So to just find some of the things that gentleman NASA is saying is that they find this an affront to the principles of electoral system, what IEBC has done in reshuffling the county and constituency returning officers. I'll begin with you, Jack Tumwa. You work to the ECK. You follow electoral matters closely. And what do you make of this suit?
Well, my take is IEBC is an independent commission. Mm-hmm. Political parties make rules and regulations through parliament that run the IEBC. Also within the IEBC, we have got what we call a liaison committee that is attended by the IEBC and the various political parties. Being an independent commission, I'm very strongly of the view that we should allow it, we should give it space to run matters relating to elections. Through the liaison committee, they should be able to come together quite often to discuss matters that may attract litigation like what we have now. The problem we have in this country is one, we have no respect for the institutions that we set up. There is also a big breakdown in communication. I think IEBC administratively did a right thing to reshuffle, because it's not the first thing they're doing, the reshuffle. Even during our days, we used to work it such that nobody stays in his area when elections is being held. Mm-hmm. But, I want to pick up put but, the way the IEBC did it, I think left room for suspicion. If you read through those names, you will get a feeling that perhaps a group of officials from one place was taken to another place, and that causes a lot of suspicion. And I think this is what is attracting this misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But still, I would rather that matters like this, and given the pressure that we are working under, given the time limit that we have, should be discussed within the political party, within IEBC, instead of going for litigation, which is going to take a lot of time, and we don't have any time to spare.
All right. And let me read this from the IEBC's website, a statement on their preparedness and where they are in as far as the elections preparations are concerned. On transfer of officers, they say, as provided for in Section 39 1A and 1B of the Elections Act, 2011, the Commission gazetted 290 staff to serve as constituency returning officers and 47 county returning officers.
Okay.
We wish to reiterate that transfer of officers is a normal procedure in any institution and within the Commission. The criteria that was used to move staff around the 290 constituencies was transparent and made known to all our staff. Our goal is to make sure that we continue to have our electoral staff serving with impartiality and integrity as guarantors of free, fair, and credible elections. And they continue to say that it is worth noting that our returning officers were recruited from each of the 290 constituencies and will serve in any part of the country with high level of integrity. So that is the reasoning we're hearing, Okach, from the IEBC, even ahead of this particular suit, that this is a normal practice. The reason they do it is to ensure impartiality. There's no kind of, getting used to a particular location or, getting in cahoots with other individuals. But NASA doesn't see it that way.
Sophia, NASA, yes, have filed a petition challenging that particular move. I may not know exactly their reasons, but from a lawyer's point of view, I will have two issues with that. One is picking up from where Mr. Jack Tumwa has indicated that it is normal and it is a good practice. I would actually have an issue with that. And the main issue is not the transfer itself. The issue is the timing. IBC has been on record saying that they don't have enough time. They have been on record saying that actually the time that has been given to them is actually not enough. They are working on squeezed time, such that if you were to do a reshuffle at this particular point, it means you are getting people from areas they were used to. They are already used to the sub-areas, they are used to the people they are working with, and all of a sudden, I think less than 3 months to the elections, you want to do a total change, bringing people from different areas. There are areas which have challenges of terrain, areas which have even acceptance by itself. When we had by-elections in other areas, these are the same people who have officiated over these by-elections, such that if you want to change them now, you bring in a different problem to yourself. And that will actually manifest itself when it comes to the elections. But going back to the law, they have aptly quoted the law. But in that law, they have not told you that the law says no one should work in their home areas. That is a policy. And it is a good policy from where I stand. But it does not mean that you have to cut and paste. Actually, you cut and replace, not even paste, from one region to another.
So you don't think it enhances integrity, because their argument is to say that this allows for people not to in any way plot anything, because then you don't know where you actually will be on election day.
Sophia, if that was true, then this particular policy would have been applied across the board. Okay. You cannot find that you just take people from one region to the other, but all these other regions, they're actually mixed up. In actual sense, it will actually be an affront to the constitutional rights in terms of non-discrimination on the basis of tribe. What I would expect is that you mix them up in all areas, but you cannot say that in this particular region, we'll only get these particular individuals. In these other areas, you find that they are mixed up. There will be a difference in the application of that policy, but the most important thing is that the partakers of what IBC churns out are these political parties,
right,
are the political contestants like the incoming governor. And they will actually want to have faith in this particular process, such that if you don't involve them in terms of what Jack Tumwa has indicated as a liaison committee, you have not involved them, you have not let them understand the criteria you're going to use, then ideally you only expect them to have issues with that. But if you involve them in the first instance and they are part and parcel of this process, you'd actually avoid a protracted litigation at the end of the process.
All right, and let's play for you a clip that is NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga speaking on this matter.
that is again an area where we are faulting the IEBC. This should be done in a very transparent manner. In other countries, like in Ghana, like in Nigeria and so on, it's not something done secretly. In fact, it is done, the political parties are involved in this exercise. And it's done randomly. They ballot. People go and pick numbers there which show the counties, the constituencies, and the polling stations where they are going to work. It is not something that is being left discretionary to a few individuals who are biased. And you can see, for example, in some areas they have left people from those areas as the returning officers, whereas in other areas they have taken people from other areas and taken there. This exercise needs to be done again, need to be looked at again, and it should be done in a transparent manner where people don't shop around for returning officers for the purposes of rigging of the elections.
So that is Raila Odinga, the presidential candidate for the National Super Alliance, speaking on that petition. We've seen NASA move to court, and they're arguing that IEBC unlawfully acted in reshuffling some of those county and constituency returning officers. Mwadime, let me hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, my take on this is that the IEBC has been mandated to ensure that they deliver credible results at the end of the day, and for them to ensure that the results after voting will be credible, they need to ensure that the officers that they're using are capable to perform, and it's only IEBC that knows who can perform better where. So for NASA to politicize this particular move is not fair, because, like my colleague said here, IEBC is an independent institution. So it should be allowed to make decisions that can ensure that we have effective and credible results at the end of the elections.
Yeah. How far is that engagement supposed to be? Because what we're hearing from NASA is that there wasn't sufficient engagement with key players. So IEBC, of course, the I is independent. How far does the independence but vis-a-vis the engagement work? How do you not, ensure you don't antagonize the parties, as we are seeing in this particular case, maintain your independence, but at the same time not appear to be working in a manner that would raise suspicion?
It is at policy level.
Yeah.
The liaison committee is supposed to sit and say, when you recruit officers to go and work,
right,
make sure that officers don't work in the home stations. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is a very good thing to do. Once they do that, then it is the IEBC to go and do the recruitment, because that becomes a technical thing. Mm-hmm. It's administrative. For us to say that the political parties get involved in saying who goes where, will not get anywhere. In fact, it will be creating worse problems than what we have. Mm-hmm. So at policy level, let's say we have agreed that this is the method, this is the method how you will recruit, and let the IEBC do the technical part.
All right. I want to take you to an event that's currently ongoing. I understand that the Democratic Party, that's DP, is currently holding a meeting where they're seeking to endorse Uhuru Kenyatta as the person they will be supporting for the presidency. Let's listen.
It is in the Constitution. It is in the Constitution. Hata hivyo, we have 18 presidential candidates. Moja akitoka siku 17 wote. Na dunia inaendelea. DP. I now take the privilege and honor to invite His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to come here to greet us. As he greets us, mimi nataka avae KDP. Kofia.
Sasa unarauka pande hiyo Excellency. Unakuwa maridadi kabisa. Asante sana. Asante sana. Oh, wonderful. Asanteni sana. Asante sana. Wana DP mpo? Wana DP mpo? Hamjambo nyote. Hai, tuketi. Asanteni sana. Ya kwanza, kinara wa chama cha DP, mzee wetu Mheshimiwa Joseph Munyao, chairman, deputy party leader, viongozi wa chama, candidates ambao wako hapa. Nataka kwanza kusema ya kwamba nashukuru sana na nasema ni asante kwa vile umenialika niweze kuwa pamoja nanyi katika hii governing council yenu ambayo mumeitisha, na nashukuru nyinyi wote kwa yale matokeo ambayo mzee wetu ametusomea hapa. Na nataka niseme ya kwanza ya kwamba nahitaji na nashukuru usaidizi wenu katika uchaguzi mkuu ujao. Mimi nataka kukubaliana na mzee Munyao kwa sababu sisi wote ambao tuko hapa tuamini demokrasia, tuamini ya kwamba hakuna haki ya kushurutisha mtu yeyote kuchagua. Tuataka kila mmoja wetu aweze afanye yale ambayo atafanya kwa njia ya haki, kwa njia ya uhuru, bila kushurutishwa na mtu yeyote. Na ndipo sisi tuasema ya kwamba we are Democrats because we believe in the same thing we believe in. Na tunajua ya kwamba tukiwa na demokrasia, tukiwa na amani na tukiwa na umoja, hakuna lolote ambalo hatuwezi kutimiza. Hakuna lolote ambalo hatuwezi kutimiza. Faida tu ni tuheshimiane. Tuheshimiane kivyama, lakini sana sana tuheshimiane kibinadamu. Hakuna binadamu mkubwa kushinda mwingine. Na ndipo sisi tuwahubiri umoja, tuwasema ya kwamba lazima tupambane na ukabila, lazima tumalize siasa ya ukabila, siasa ya kujitenga kidini, na tujue ya kwamba Kenya hii yatuhitaji sisi wote. Na ndipo sisi siasa yetu sio ya kutisha mtu, sio ya kushurutisha mtu. Tuwataka Wakenya waamue. Na sisi kama viongozi tuheshimu uamuzi wa Wakenya. Na ndipo vile mzee Munyao hapa amesema, na mimi nakubaliana naye. Haiwezekani tukiwa na vyama vyote ambavyo tuko navyo, iwe kuna chama moja ambayo itasema kama mambo haitafanyika kulingana na matakwa yangu, hakuna kitu itaendelea. Hiyo ni demokrasia kweli? Hiyo ni demokrasia? Hiyo sio demokrasia. Haistahili wewe utishe wenzako ati kama mambo haitaenda vile mimi nataka, hakuna lolote litafanyika. Tunataka tuheshimiane. Tunataka tuheshimiane. Tushindane ndio. Tushindane, kila mtu na sera zake, lakini tuheshimiane na tuheshimu uamuzi. Lakini isiwe wewe unaenda kutisha koti, kesho yake unaenda kusema kama haitakuwa hivi kutakuwa shida. Kwani shida ni kwa nini? Shida iko wapi? Wananchi wawachiliwe, waamue vile wanataka kuamua, na uheshimu huo uamuzi. Omba kura kwa njia ya amani. Omba kura kwa njia ya kusema utawatendea Wakenya nini, lakini sio kwa njia ya kutisha wenzako. We are all Kenyans and we have no other home but Kenya. All of us. So we need to be able to respect one another in order for us to be able to move together and to progress together as one people. Na mimi ndio nasema tuko hapa kuwashukuru kwa uamuzi wenu, na kusema ya kwamba tutafanya kazi pamoja, tujenge Kenya yetu pamoja. Si namna hiyo wenzangu? Kwa sababu haja yetu sisi wote ni kuona Kenya ikisonga mbele. Na ndipo mliona hata sisi wakati tulichukua usukani, mimi hatukusema ya kwamba yale ambayo yalikuwa yamefanywa ni mabaya, hii ilikuwa namna hii. Sisi tulisema serikali ni ya Wakenya. Ile miradi ambayo serikali ya Kibaki ilikuwa imeanzisha, tukasema lazima tukamilishe. Yeah? Lazima tukamilishe. Alafu pia tuongezee, because that is what Kenyans want. Lakini sio hii mambo ya kusema sisi tukikuja, hiyo mipangilio yote ilikuwa hatutaitaki. Kwani pesa ni ya nani jamii ambayo imetumika? Si ya Wakenya? Sio yako, ni ya Wakenya. Ni ya Wakenya. Pesa sio yako, ni ya Wakenya. Tenda, uendelee na uongezee. Hata Mungu alisema yule ambaye aliachiwa talanta yake akasema ongezea. Kibaki alituachia ile atuliwachia na sisi tukaongezea. Lakini sio kutoa. Na hivyo ndivyo njia ya kujenga nchi. Au ni namna gani wenzangu? Si ni namna hiyo? Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niwashukuru. Tutafanya kazi pamoja, tutakampaign pamoja. Yangu ni kuwauliza, tafadhali tufanye siasa zetu kwa njia ya amani, kwa njia ya kuunganisha Wakenya, lakini sio kuwatenganisha. Kwa sababu hiyo ndio mimi naamini a true democrat is a person who believes in bringing people together and in allowing them to make their choice freely without any intimidation. Intimidation is a factor of dictators and cowards. Yeah? Because if you have an agenda, and if you believe that people are willing to buy your agenda, you don't need to intimidate anybody. Yeah? Just sell your agenda in peace. And if it is a good agenda, Kenyans will buy it. Si namna hiyo? Kwa hivyo, kwa sababu vile mmesikia siku ya leo, unajua unaweza uairishe harusi, unaweza uairishe sikukuu, lakini mazishi huwezi airisha. Na huyo mzee ni mzee, amekuwa mzee wetu. Mzee amesimamia haki katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ni mzee ambaye amesimamia uhuru wa dini katika taifa letu la Kenya, na yastahili niweze nifike na tuweze tumsindikishe kwa njia ya heshima. Na ndipo nawauliza kwa heshima pia mniruhusu ndio niweze kwenda tukamsindikishe huyo mzee. Kwa hayo machache na mengi, mzee wangu nasema asante, mzee Machage nasema asante, chairman nasema asante. Mungu awabariki, Mungu awalinde, Mungu atupatie ushindi. Asante sana.
President Uhuru Kenyatta there being endorsed by the Democratic Party. Remember, this is just one of the several parties we've seen endorse the president's bid to defend his seat on the August 8th general election. We've seen the Maendeleo Chap, other parties that have endorsed to the president in the recent past is NAK Kenya as well, and KANU. And of course, today the DP coming out to say that they support his candidature. And of course, he taking that opportunity to thank the party, but also touching on some of the political stories we've seen develop in the recent past, hitting back at some of the claims that have come from NASA, one of them, of course, being on the question of tallying, that matter that's before court. Where will the last word be? Will it be at the constituency level as the High Court had ruled, or will the Court of Appeal overturn the same? And the president saying there shouldn't be threats on this matter, saying that there would be certain consequences, say boycotting of elections, as we've heard from NASA, if in fact the Court of Appeal overturns that decision. He's also talked about that as Jubilee, they came into power, building and developing on some of the projects from the Kibaki regime. And of course, you remember that there was that statement that we heard from NASA that if they do come into power, they will be bringing to an end some of those contracts with other countries that have been reached by this administration. So saying that is not the way to go. It's always about building one level to the next and not talking about undoing. So let me bring a little bit of what we've heard now from the president to our guest in studio with me. Just to reintroduce them, next to me is Constantine Mwadime. He is seeking to be governor in Taita Taveta. In the middle, we have Jack Tumwa. He's a former commissioner with the now defunct ECK, that's Electoral Commission of Kenya. And Duncan Okach is an advocate. Duncan, I'll begin with you. What you make of the president's sentiments this morning?
The president's sentiments are actually wise in terms of the fact that such a threat will have serious ramifications in terms of our peace and stability as we go to the elections. However, and just like my colleague Jack Tumwa said, it is important to also allow these independent institutions to do their work independently. One of the independent institutions is the court. And the court does not and should not be made to make decisions based on threats or inducements of whatever nature, such that their decision should only be pegged on the law. And that is what Kenyans and litigants will actually want to see.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Tumwa?
Politics in Kenya, unfortunately so, is based on tribes.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. I would have been pleasantly surprised if, for example, DP went and joined the NASA in Western so that we can crisscross.
Yes.
This is not happening. So I'm not surprised that the DP, of course, with its democratic right, is joining Jubilee. That is as expected, and as I say, is very unfortunate. We have to move forward and move from the tribal and the affiliation to actually issues so that we have political parties talking about issues and for getting the people to focus on issues. Until we get to that level, I think our politics is still going to remain political. I want to agree with Duncan that institutions, until we as a people of Kenya start respecting the institutions that we set up, we are going to have problems. There are so many cases where, and in this case, I think both Jubilee and the NASA are offenders of the institutions. Take one example. When a minister comes up to say, if you talk about certain numbers, it is you are
10 million strong.
If you talk about 10 million strong, you are inciting people. Another one talked about 72 plus 1%, and he's not inciting. You know, that is wrong. Two, we have said to respect our institutions. If someone is appointed as a civil servant as a public servant, let him respect that position to remain such. But we are not respecting that one. We find people like Ngaiseri taking full-time playing politics. And you know every action has got a reaction. When you do that, the others say, well, then what is the point of you telling us to respect an institution when actually the ruling party is not? The ruling party should take the responsibility of being on the foreground in respecting the institutions that have been set up to guide the country.
All right. And these endorsements, Mwadime, what weight do they have, if at all? You've seen DP, other parties have endorsed the president, his candidature, seeking re-election. Do they hold weight in the larger scheme of things?
Yeah, they do hold weight in that politics is Jubilee and President Uhuru Kenyatta. It means that Jubilee is getting reinforcement from its coalition partners. Mm-hmm. And NASA has also done the same. They have been endorsed by various other parties, and Jubilee is also being endorsed and joining hands with their friends and partners. And so everybody is trying to make sure that they are bringing on board as many partners as possible to ensure that they win the race. So it basically adds numbers and helps parties to be able to achieve their goals. Yeah. But unfortunately, like my colleague said here, it's about tribalism again. You know, a particular party that is headed by a particular community getting partners from a certain community. So it is still not helping us to come out of tribal politics. We're still encouraging tribal politics, which is not fair.
Which is not fair.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to that matter, you know, that's still before court, in appeal now. Tumwa, does it matter where that final result is announced from? Because what NASA is contesting is that it should remain as is from what the High Court said. At constituency level, the returning officer there, the results they announced are final. Does it matter that it's either there or the national level by the IEBC chair?
Let me give you some little background.
Yeah.
2007, the people who were at KICC watched the events that happened at KICC will take note that the thing that set ICC on fire is that someone was introduced at KICC as a returning officer of Molo, I think, if I remember well. Mm-hmm. And that the results that had been announced at KICC was different from the results that were read at Molo. Don't forget, this was an imposter. He was not real. But all the same, he set KICC on fire. And that's one of the things that we have to be very careful. Mm. We've got about 55,000 polling stations. Now, every polling station will, after the count, announce the results. Mm-hmm. Now, those results, if I'm in my village, if I'm in my house, I can also take note of those results. Mm-hmm. So 55,000 will come around. Then they move up to the ward level, where the ward will collect and take them to the constituency. Mm-hmm. At constituency, the returning officer is allowed to announce the results, the winning parliamentary, mm-hmm. and the MCS.
Yes.
Okay? Now, back at the ward level, these results will be relayed direct to the national tallying office,
yes.
direct to the county tallying office, direct to the
constituency.
So all this information is public. Okay? So if this information is public, I really don't understand why we are saying other people should not tally the results. I don't see how these restrictions come on. But if I were in the position of Chepkati, I would not actually pursue the question of changing the results that will have come from the constituency. Because at that time, tension is so high.
Changing the results?
Altering the result, because they're saying, mm-hmm. after getting the result from the constituency, and they find there are some mistakes, which happens actually every other time,
Yeah.
they will alter, or they will change. That is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because at that time, tension is so high that any such a thing, and like I've said, during 2007, that is what set KICC on fire. Let that be taken note of. Let's leave off someone else like the court to do the adjudication, say, yes, this is what we received, we dispute this, and we go to court. Perhaps by then the tension will be less when the court goes for the adjudication. But the changing the result in between or at KICC altering the result that will have, the result that will be authentic. Because, as I say, you are counting, every agents are there, the observer agents are there, the media, and we're actually appealing to the media that they play a central role in watching what will be happening.
All right.
That is what to me is authentic result and should not be altered.
Should not be altered. Okach, so then do you see the merit of NASA in this, that from the history that he's explained, what happened at KICC with Molo, with that, imposter showing up with these different results, that whilst on one hand, NASA is giving an ultimatum if things do not pan out their way in the Court of Appeal, but on the other hand, there is water in this argument, isn't it?
I agree with you, Sophie. There is a lot of credence in terms of what NASA is pursuing. I may not agree in terms of the ultimatums they are giving to the court.
Yes.
As I've indicated, the court should actually be left to make its decision based on the law and the law alone. But in terms of the credence of their pursuit, I actually believe that that is actually the way it's supposed to be. Just like our former Commissioner Jack Tumo has indicated, we should be students of history. We have actually observed these particular practices happening. We have issues whereby the returning officer announces particular results in a particular manner, but when the results are being relayed or are being announced by the National Tallying Center, you actually find that they are different, such that the returning officer cannot actually even substantiate these particular results being announced at the National Tallying Center. But according to the law, it is this constituency returning officer who is mandated to actually conduct these elections at that particular point and to actually announce. So that even as this particular officer is announcing the results in terms of the wards, announcing the overall results in terms of the membership to parliament, the same officer will also have results for the gubernatorial contests, for the women representative contests, for the senatorial contests, and even the presidency. And this is what is relayed, such that the powers of the IEBC sitting in Nairobi would actually be limited to confirming or announcing what has been given by these particular officers, who, if you don't forget, they are their own officers. They're actually the ones who are choosing. It's not other parties choosing. Such that if there is a disparity, these particular persons, the presidential agents and all that, will be there. They will actually take issue with that. These are the issues that Jack Tumo is saying can be presented to the Supreme Court, saying that there is an anomaly which is A, B, C, D, and if the Supreme Court agrees with you, they can actually change the results. They can actually give requisite orders. But it is a tall order for a commissioner to sit there and say that once the results come, I will be the one to make a decision whether they're right, whether it is 4, whether it is 5. It actually means that my power or the equality of my vote is actually reduced to nothing, such that the decision of who becomes the president will be made not by the common mananchi, but by the group of people who will be sitting in Nairobi. And then you're left to challenge it in the Supreme Court with all the hardships that are there. And remember, there is secrecy, even observing, even the transparency in altering what they want to do will not be there, because they'll alter and they'll announce, and that is that.
All right. Mwadime, one looking at this situation will see NASA has several issues that they've brought to the fore with the IEBC. Not only on the returning officers, the reshuffle there, the tallying question, the final tally, with the mobile service providers' engagement with the IEBC. But on the other side, Jubilee does not appear, or at least made known, any issues with the IEBC. And some opine that in some instances, the manner in which they appear to read from the same script is suspicious or is wanting or is a matter to be questioned. Do you see it that way? Do you find concern in as far as the issues that, not one, not two, not three, that NASA is raising with the IEBC? And on the other hand, an equal player, one would argue, has no issues at all.
Yeah, basically, NASA feels that IEBC is biased in favor of Jubilee. So each time an issue arises, or each time IEBC does something, they feel that it is an agenda to be able to make Jubilee, gain mileage. So they have no faith in IEBC. So
a new IEBC, though. A new IEBC after their same bidding to exit the former commissioners.
New IEBC and even the former IEBC, both of them, they had no faith in it. So for them, it doesn't matter whether IEBC does wonders or does something good. They don't see that. What they're seeing is that these people are out to ensure that we are beaten during the elections. So they have no faith in IEBC, and Jubilee has not complained, has not.
Is that suspicious?
Any threat.
Is that suspicious that they're just happy with everything? They have no issues? Do you find it?
You see, they are in leadership. They are the same people that have put together this IEBC. So they cannot, again, start fighting their own
independent
machinery.
Institution.
Yeah,
their own machinery shouldn't be their own machinery.
Yeah, they can't fight their own machinery. So,
all right. Yeah. Finally, as we wrap up.
What Mwadime is saying.
Yes.
I think this thing has a history.
Okay.
The opposition has been beaten once or twice.
Yes.
So it is very bitter. It has to be very careful. It has to be on the lookout for anything that looks like is suspicious.
Yes.
However, IEBC has got a big responsibility to build its image. It has to be seen to operate beyond, above board, so that everybody trusts. It should not be like when we went for election in 2007, when there was so much suspicion about the IEBC. We don't want a repeat of that. So I think it has to go out of its way and hold even meetings with the media once every week to brief them on what they are doing, to build the image.
All right. Many thanks, gentlemen, for being with us. Jack Tumwa, former ECK Commissioner, Constantine Mwadime, aspirant Governor Taita Taveta, Duncan Okach, advocate. We thank you for being with us here on News Center. And stay with us. We're taking a break, but when we return, one of the other stories we're following for you today is a meeting by CS Education Fred Matiang'i at the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. We'll take you live there in just a moment.